a single section of the state code. It's in chapter 8, which is municipalities, article 12, which are powers and duties of municipalities, and the amendment is to section 5A of that article. Under the bill, it would limit the authority of municipality to prohibit firearms. It prohibits municipalities from regulating firearms or deadly weapons more strictly than state law. And it clarifies that anyone seeking redress under the section, civil action, can recover attorney's fees only if he or she prevails. And it eliminates the authority of municipalities to prohibit firearms or at short-term outdoor festivities or events where a person does not have a license to carry. Mr. President, be happy to try to answer questions. Otherwise, I urge the passage of the bill.
Is there further discussion? The senior senator from the 17th.
Thank you, Mr. President. I briefly rise in opposition to this bill. I don't know if everyone saw the Charleston newspaper this weekend, but there were some pretty grim statistics about firearm fatalities that have occurred in this state since 2016, since we passed the constitutional carry bill. In 2016, at that point, we had never had more than 300 firearm fatalities in the state, and in 2016, we had 335. 2017, we had 349. 2018, we had 347. So we've had a 44% increase in homicides with firearms in the 3-year period before we passed constitutional carry to the 3-year period after constitutional carry. All other gun deaths have increased by 33%. Suicides by firearms have increased by 59%. I mean, the actions that we take have consequences, Mr. President. I mean, what we've done in this bill is we're saying that people with no background check and with no firearm training can possess firearms on temporary closures of streets where people are drinking beer in close proximity. I mean, maybe something terrible won't happen, but it's just not a good recipe. It's not a good recipe, and these numbers bear this out. Mr. President, I did some more research on this, and just looking at firearm mortality rates, in West Virginia, it was 14.6 in 2014 and 14.0 in 2015. Then 2016 and 2017, it was about 18. So it's about probably a 35% increase. And the U.S. during that time, it was 10.3 in 2014, 11.1 in 15, and 2016 and 2017, it's about 12. So we're, again, about 50% higher than the average for the country. And I just think we need to be very careful when we continue to just put more guns in more places and more people who have a lack of training. They have no background check. I mean, I have no problem with law-abiding citizens having guns when they go through the proper procedures and protocols in certain places or just in general in their homes. But here at this bill, Mr. President, I mean, again, we're talking about cities that have shut down streets for a temporary festival like Live on the Levee or Festival, and we're allowing people who have not had any training or a limited background check to carry firearms in those situations, and I don't think we should do that. And another reason, I mean, we continue to pass bills that restrict cities' abilities to operate in the way that they want to. I mean, this state has lost about 12,000 people per year over the last 5 or 6 years, and there's probably a whole host of reasons why that's happened. But I mean, if our cities cannot govern themselves and be as strong as they can possibly be, we're going to continue losing people. I mean, our best chance of getting more people in this state is to have strong cities and to allow cities to do what they want, to operate in the best manner that they see fit, and we continue to restrict cities' abilities to function in this state, Mr. President. So for those reasons, I urge rejection of the bill.
Thank you. Further discussion? Further discussion? Senator from Morgan wish to close debate? Recognize the Senator from Morgan to close debate.
Thank you, Mr. President. All of us know what the Second Amendment to the United States Constitution says. I'd like to read to you what Article 3, Section 22 of the West Virginia Constitution says, it says, quote, "A person has the right to keep and bear arms for the defense of self, family, home, and state, and for lawful hunting and recreational use," close quote. It's a right, Mr. President. It's a constitutional right, the right to keep and bear arms for defense of self, family, home, and state. It's a right guaranteed to every citizen of West Virginia under the Constitution. Now, the passage of this bill is not going to change the law as to who is prohibited from having or possessing or carrying a firearm. The law will still prohibit from ownership, possession, carrying of a firearm, anyone who's been convicted of a felony, anyone who's been convicted of a domestic violence misdemeanor, habitual drug users, persons addicted to drugs or alcohol, people who have mental illnesses, people who've been dishonorably discharged from the United States military. They're prohibited from carrying weapons, from owning or possessing weapons. And this bill will not change that. But what this bill does do is it gives life to the constitutional rights set forth in Article 3, Section 22 of our state constitution. And persons who do not violate the law are free to carry. And it does, I will concede the point made by the senator from the 17th, it restricts the ability of a municipality to take away a person's right. And we should. We should not allow municipalities to take away a person's right. What if the municipality decides we won't have newspapers published here? What if the municipality decides to outlaw free speech or peaceable assembly? These are constitutional rights, which we should not endow a municipality with the power to curtail or take away. So I urge, well, let me just also say one other thing. As a matter of policy, just as a matter of policy, apart from the constitutional arguments, the criminals who are fatally bent on mischief and who in violation of the law are going to carry a firearm and use it are going to do it anyway. And every week we see a story from somewhere across this country that proves that the antidote for a bad person or a criminal with a gun is a good person who has a gun, who's exercising his right. I urge passage of the bill.
Question for the Senate is, shall the bill pass? All those in favor will vote yea. Those opposed will vote nay. The clerk will prepare the machine. Has every member voted? Has every member voted? If so, the clerk will close the machine and ascertain the results. On this question being 30 yeas, 2 nays, 2 absent and not voting, more than the majority of those present and voting having voted in the affirmative, I declare the bill passed. Clerk will communicate the action of the Senate to the House.
Engrossed committee substitute